Hi friends, welcome to my channel. Here I am making an altered magazine and book together, and this is how I'm going to show you how I made these pages. I took them apart from the magazine because I'll show you later that when you keep them together in the magazine it fluffs open too much, so you need to kind of separate your pages. So I'm just going to give you a little rundown on how I made these. So you fold the pages in half, glue them, and it makes the pages stronger for collage and whatnot anyway, and mixed media. And I make little pockets in the bottom. You can flip the pockets reverse and do whatever way. I just do a couple pages to show you, and then you cut the shape over on the top of the magazine or pages to what you wanted. I chose a heart shape because I wanted to make a heart book. So here I just did a few to show you how weaving it together just doesn't work for this type of project unless you just want to have a magazine one, because it just fluffs open too much and you gotta alter it. Here is my cover, and now I'm just taking the inside of the book out, and it came apart really easy. I'm saving both sleeves. I don't know if it's called sleeves, but the inside and the outside page that I'm going to glue to my magazine. So here I'm just kind of taking my knife and pulling that out pretty easy. Here I'm just kind of looking at where I want to place my pages and getting them in there, so then I can make kind of the tracing mark of what I want. I actually did the mark on the outside. I cut it with the X-Acto knife. I left space, a little ½ inch or whatever space, so that my pages were smaller than my book cover, and I just used my craft knife to cut both the front and the back cover. Now I'm just grabbing some sandpaper to smooth my edges out. So that's what I do. I try to keep going in a direction where I'm not going to peel my cover off, so I'm just really careful with that, but otherwise I'm just sanding it smooth, rounding it off a bit, and that way when I do some gesso over it, it'll take really well. Meanwhile, I'm going to throw my signature together, and I'm just checking the size that I need, and I am going to glue my edges, my outer edge. I decided not to sew it because I just wanted to glue and see how that works. So I'm going to use the weight of this law book here to keep the pages together. So I'm going to use actually using this jar here that I have. It's an old candle jar, and it's a good trick, especially for kids when they need to glue nice and big and doesn't spill, to put my glue on there. So I just got Elmer's glue, straight Elmer's glue in there, and I'm going to paint the back of my signatures with that, and then put them inside the law book a little bit there. That book I'm going to alter, and I'm going to leave it sit and glue together while I alter the cover. So here I'm just using some poster as a scrap to protect the inside of my book and my inside pages that I have left in there, just so that I can do whatever with the front covers and not get paint and destroy the inside. I am using gesso and this DecoArts stencil from Vintage. It's called Vintage Keys. I'm using a lock for one side. I'm going to use a couple of keys for the other side, the reverse side. I also use another stencil for leaves, but I don't remember the name of that one, but it's also a DecoArts stencil. And the reason I'm using gesso is because I just want a slight embossed look. I don't want it to be a big texture paste or something too harsh. I just want it to look like a natural book embossed. Here's the other stencil. I can't remember the name of it, and I like that, and I put that on there as well. At this point now I am just adding gesso all over my book, but first I do a couple of layers in the spine, and then the rest of the cover and the front and the back I just do one good layer, because I don't want to cover up what I've done. I don't want to make it too thick so you can't see the faux embossing of the key and the decoration I put on there. I just want it so then I give it tooth to be able to paint on. But on the spine there's a little bit of embossing for the wording of what the book is, and I want to cover that. So I had to do a couple of layers on the spine. Also make sure you get the very edges, because that card where you cut is going to absorb a lot of paint, so you want to get that to keep the color even. Now I chose some lipstick red to put on my cover, so I'm going to do a nice thin coat as a base for my cover. This is not how I want to leave it, but I want to start off with a base color, and I make sure I get my edges as well, so then all the white is covered. These paints that I'm using are all from DecoArt, and I find that they're really great paints, especially the satin American, what are they called? The multi-surface satins. They are wonderful because they have this sheen, and it's not like a dull craft paint where it dries dull. These ones have a nice sheen on them, and I love it. The next paint I'm pulling out is Red Barn, and I absolutely love it, and I was a little worried because of the tone, but when I put it on there it looks so perfect, and I just kind of put it everywhere and wanted some of the bottom lipstick to pop through, and it looked really cool and kind of old a little bit, gave it a little vintage look, so I really like it. And that too is the multi-surface satin in American DecoArt paint. After drawing that off, I went with gold and some paper towel, and I just rubbed it along my book everywhere to catch the embossed piece. Oh, and I loved it, and I just did it everywhere on my book. I did especially more on the spine and on the edges, the outer edges, and it just looked perfect. It reminded me of a box of chocolates, and at this point I didn't want to alter it anymore. You could go as frilly, lacy as you want with this project for Valentine's. I remember in school that we did like these wonderful little cartoons or lacy and just frou-frou type of little hearts for our little Valentines to get put in little mailboxes. But this time when I got to this point, it just seemed too perfect to alter anymore. Now I am ready to glue my pages in, and they're all stuck together, but I had to add a few more pages because it was just not thick enough, so I added 3 more signatures, little pages on its own. But it worked out well because I ended up gluing to that paper there, the inner paper on both in the front and the back, gluing it right into place, and then putting my paper in the middle. My signatures, all that were glued together in the center, and it worked really well. So it kind of helped me with placement, as well as I had to cut down that paper edge there to match my inside signatures. So it worked really good. So I just used the Elmer's glue and put that down. Now I'm coming to the spine. I just used Elmer's glue and I put a good amount in there and made sure I got on the paper edges that I do have in there already, the front and the back, and I just pushed them all down in there and close the book and hope for the best. After several hours of it sitting, I did take a ruler and push each signature into the spine just to make sure it was really sticky. Actually, it was only about an hour and a half actually I waited, but after that, that's what I did, maybe 2 hours. And I just used a metal ruler, but I didn't show that in my video. So this is what it looks like. I used this ribbon to put on there because I think it came with a gift or some chocolates anyway, and it just looked like a box of chocolates to me, and I really wanted to keep that look. So I hope you guys like this. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and what we're gonna do is I'm gonna have a few videos, so if you guys want to make this along with me, go ahead and do so, because in the next few weeks I think we're gonna do a few pages here and there in our heart journal. So I hope you guys all join me for that. Thanks everyone for watching. Bye bye.